Hello, everyone. This is Keith Stone with the Center for Hellenic Studies, and I'm here again with Greg Nagy and Janet and Elaine and Sarah for Office Hours for version 11 of HeroesX. And this is the week where we discuss hours 20 and 21, which is the Hippolytus and the Bacchae of Euripides. First, I'll read the question for hour 20. In the Hippolytus of Euripides, the chorus of women interacts with Phaedra in a variety of ways. Do you find a consistent pattern in the interaction? So we have quite a few answers here. What are folks saying?
Yes. They were wondering, are the women in the chorus limited in their understanding of what is happening to Phaedra? Are their actions restrained? Do they have to rely on what the maids in charge of the linens or the house have to say?
And here's an even broader question, which is, are they women or are they, may I put it this way, pre-women, girls? And I'm using the word girl simply as a way of conveying in English what is a very clear distinction in many cultures. And that distinction is that before a female member of society gets married, they even follow different rules, different protocols, including the realm of sexuality, the realm of social contacts, what kind of hair do they wear, so many different things. And could I just say right off that I used to think I had to decide whether the chorus in the Hippolytus of Euripides was one way or another, women or girls. Now I'm not sure, although if I had to say who the primary performers would have been in Trodzenia or Trodzein, which was the setting of the drama as visualized by Euripides, I'd say they're girls, not women. However, I think the content of the first choral passage, it leaves room for experiences of women as well as the experiences of girls. I guess I didn't answer my own question because what the respondent you're referring to, Elaine, is exploring, and I think it's a beautiful exploration, is really something else. What is the relationship of this group of women / girls to the queen? That's a different question. And are they servants of the queen? Are they simply village women? What are they?
Yes.
And I'm still not answering my own question.
One of the participants said that there is a reaction by chorus, but this reaction is changing reaction. Can we tie with the first question? What chorus knows changing and the reaction is changing, and the reaction, perhaps the reaction of the audience is changing as well.
I love that. I love that. And could I put it in a kind of anthropological setting, which is that if you look at lament, and I'm thinking of studies of actual laments actually performed in historical situations. If you look at that kind of lament, whatever a woman or a group of women sing or perform, because I don't want to exclude dance, whatever it is something that can tap into an experiential world that's not limited to, I don't know, the world of teenagers or the world of newly married women or a group of women captives or whatever the situation is. It can zigzag, and it can zigzag even chronologically to later stages of life, earlier stages of life. And maybe this happens with choruses in general, but it definitely does happen in lament. That I can guarantee.
So one of the participants has given some specific examples of how the chorus is reacting, and is picking up on the fact that quite often they seem to be reacting to something that the nurse has said or has revealed.
Yes.
Rather than to Phaedra directly. So I wondered if you could perhaps help us think about the relationship between the nurse and the chorus. Is there some sort of relationship, like a chorus leader or something?
Well, here we come to another very interesting aspect of Greek song culture, which is that the character that we call a nurse is, in terms of the social setting as it's imagined, is kind of like a dueña, an older woman who's experienced but who's not the mother. But here's the important part: somebody to whom the girl or the woman can confide. And why? Because the quote unquote nurse, or the trophos, and that's what the English word nurse translates, the nurturer, was technically assigned to the female person at infancy. The nurse is the former wet nurse, so to speak, the one who breastfed whoever the adult is. And the nurse can be nurse not only to females but males. I think of Euripides in the Odyssey as exhibit A of a confidant to a male adult, and the intimacy, the relationship that allows for confidences to be made is set from childhood on. So if that's the case, if it's that kind of intimacy, then given that choruses are themselves a vehicle for expressing personal relationships, bonding experiences, whether they're groups of females or groups of males, would suggest to me that, in a sense, the chorus would be the confidant, if I can think of them as a singular, of the nurse, who is a confidant of the main character. So to me, it's all a wonderful continuum of intimate language and access to intimate thoughts.
Thank you. And although you specifically asked about the chorus's reaction to Phaedra, one of the participants has also looked at that in comparison to their reaction to Hippolytus.
Yes.
Because they start to react to him and
yes.
only then come back to thinking about Phaedra.
Yes. And what a lovely observation. And I'm really suddenly hesitant about whether, could I put it this way, the chorus can read the mind of Hippolytus. I know they can read the mind and heart of Phaedra, just as the trophos, the quote-unquote nurse, can read the mind and heart of Phaedra. But actually, I'm not sure about Hippolytus. I'll have to give it some thought, and I surprise myself that I don't have a ready answer.
All right, shall we move to the next question?
Okay. Yeah, we move to the next question with me not having really answered many questions, but that's okay. These discussions can be open-ended. I hope they encourage participants to keep exploring, because I certainly don't have the last word on the questions that I ask.
So let's see, hour 21. The question that you set, Greg, is, in the Bacchae of Euripides, how is the Kleos of Pentheus similar to the Kleos of Achilles in the Iliad?
Yeah, and how is it different?
Well, we'll see if you can answer this one. What did folks have to say on the boards?
Well, there was one comment about Achilles' fighting. Okay, it seems to be more heroic through modern eyes than Pentheus.
Yes, because after all, Achilles, when he's in battle, he wins battles, and Pentheus gets torn apart by women. he, he doesn't win in violent encounters. So yes, that's the difference, all right. I guess what would be the comparable aspect of the experience of Pentheus, and I hope you like the fact that I said experience, because I'm already thinking of the Greek word that is often translated by English, quote, experience, unquote, and that's pathos, P-A-T-H-O-S, or a larger than life thing that happens to a hero. And after all, Achilles has things happen to him that are beyond his control. The worst one being that he loses his other self, Patroklos, who, as he himself says, is nearer and dearer than anyone else in the whole world to him. And he loses Patroklos because of his own actions. Achilles' own actions are what make Achilles lose his nearest and dearest. So that's an experience of larger than life sorrow or suffering, if you like, which is another way to translate pathos, P-A-T-H-O-S. Sure, it's experienced neutrally, but it's suffering in its usual negative context. Well, certainly Achilles is a great sufferer, just as Pentheus is a great sufferer.
On that note, somebody pointed out the etymology of their names.
Yes, yes. And that certainly helps, because what does Achilles say he has to the maximum? It's penthos, P-E-N-T-H-O-S, and its synonym achos, A-K-H-O-S. And Pentheus is Mr. Penthos. So there you are. It's enduring unbearable pain, unbearable psychic pain. Well, in the case of Pentheus, okay, how about unbearable physical pain as well? And you do get Kleos for that, because people sing about it. It's a subject of song.
One of the participants is wondering if, unlike, we know that Achilles has a cult and was worshipped, and Phaedra and Hippolytus, for example, but what about Pentheus? Was he a cult hero? Is there any evidence of that?
I don't know of any direct evidence, but my favorite piece of information about Pentheus beyond the tragedy composed by Euripides is the fact that in Athenian myth, the very first tragedy ever made was called Pentheus, and the author, can I say it that way? Or let's say it this way, the composer was Thespis, T-H-E-S-P-I-S, which is, of course, the word that gives us thespian. So it's Mr. Theater composes the first tragedy, which is Pentheus. That suggests, I have to add one more dot to connect, that at least in Thebes, which is the locale for the dramatic events of this myth, in Thebes, I would bet that Pentheus is a cult hero. In fact, I'll say something more generally. I would bet that every hero who figures in Homeric poetry is a hero somewhere. It's just that we have so little evidence.
Mm-hmm. In fact, they've picked up on the fact that Pentheus is related to Oedipus.
Yes, thank you. Not only is he related to Oedipus, but he is descended from the teeth of the dragon. And so one of his ancestors is Mr. Snake, a figure who is actually called a snake or a dragon. So he is definitely, how shall I say it, a dragon seed personality. And what's the word for people like that? Spartos. Spartos, which means the one who is sown. I mean, SOWN. And that means somebody who grew out of the dragon's teeth that were scattered into Mother Earth and popped out of Mother Earth, killing machines as they became.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Pentheus is larger than life. He's a larger than life hero, but is he an epic hero?
Is he an epic hero? Well, you know, the older I get, the less useful I find the term epic when it comes to the definition of heroes. Heroes are defined by the rituals that include verbal art or song and dance about them. And epic to me is just an offshoot of song traditions. So I don't need epic at all for definition of hero. So to take exhibit A, Heracles, he who has the glory of Hera, Heracles, his Kleos is not epic poetry per se, it's just song. And even Achilles, when he says that he will have Kleos that will be unwilting forever, I would never say anymore, maybe I never said it, that Kleos has to be epic. It can be, I'm not happy with this term either, it can be lyric. But you know, these terms, epic and lyric, they're not too useful until we get into the era of Horace in the beginning of the 1st century of our era. That's when they get really useful. Even for Aristotle, 4th century BCE, epic is something that you can recognize as a genre only in terms of whatever is performed at a given festival at a given time, something that is organically related to tragedy, but it's so contextualized historically that I wouldn't even use the term. I'm now provoking you all. I wouldn't even use the term except for the 4th century BCE when it comes to Greek traditions. Wow, that was a diatribe against the term epic, and I'm sorry for the participant who used it, because I think it's perfectly legitimate to say epic, and one of the most beautiful formulations of what epic is by my maybe all-time favorite classicist who does Greek poetics, that's Richard P. Martin. And for him, epic is a very real thing. It's exemplified by the Iliad and the Odyssey. But that said, epic is still something that can be defined as a genre only historically.
So the heroes exist almost in their own right as part of that whole song culture, and some of them happen to be commemorated more famously in epic and some in lyric. And then one of the participants has also picked up on your definition of what constitutes a hero right from the beginning. And one of those is that they have a divine antagonist. And here we've got Pentheus and Dionysus, Achilles.
A really good match, isn't it? It's an excellent match. Yes. And they're lookalikes, and even better, dear Sarah, they're cousins. They both have the same grandfather, Cadmus. Isn't that neat? It doesn't get better than that. So of course they probably look alike.
Yeah. So all that talk about sort of seeing double and
yes. Oh yes. I was thinking of that.
So it's not just that Pentheus gets dressed up
yes,
by Dionysus as a Bacchant. he. I mean, to look like Dionysus there, they have a family resemblance.
And it's not just to be a Bacchae means to become Dionysus, whether you're a boy or a girl. Because if it's a boy, it's Bacchos. If it's a girl, it's Bacchae, and that's what the title of the tragedy is in the plural. Bacchae is just plural personal realizations of Dionysus. So Dionysus crosses genders. If you worship him, you can be female Bacchus, that's Bacchae, and that's what you see in the title of the tragedy, or Bacchus, if you're male, but it's a transsexual identity, and which is why, of course, Dionysus can also be mistaken for a woman.
Anything else we should cover in this hour?
Everything. I mean, this is so much bigger than all of us. This tragedy, and for that matter, I love the other one too so much. We couldn't stop talking ever. But I guess we have to stop talking now.
Right, thank you, Greg.
Well, thank you so much. This is always such a joy. I hope the participants enjoy reading Euripides. What a treat.
All right. See you all next time.
Bye.